And we're seeing here Donald Trump at his desk in the Oval Office signing these pieces of paper, executive orders, and dictating the law affecting not just 320 million Americans, but vast numbers in the wider world. And for much of American presidential history, they've been used sparingly. But particularly since the time of Bill Clinton and through Boy George Bush and Obama and now Trump, they're being used constantly to dictate the law and the lives of 320 million people with the signature of one man. And to give you an idea of how they are used, each one of these pages, not too light, but you can see it, each one of these pages, each one of these lines on the page is an executive order that was signed into law by Boy George Bush in his period of office. And they go on page after page after page after page after page. Swish of the pen, law of the land. And the reason that I used to write and talk about these things quite some time ago is because the basis on which they are claimed to be legal and that a president can do this is like, where is it? They justify swish of the pen, law of the land, by two statements in the US Constitution. And these are those. I kid you not. The first one is Article 2, Section 1 of the US Constitution, which says the executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America. And yes, so the President of the United States is the top of the pile of the executive arm of government. Executive orders? Nowhere. The other one is Article 2, Section 3, which says the President shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed. Yeah, laws passed in the political system have to be faithfully executed, and the President has to oversee that. Swish of the pen, law of the land? Nowhere. And that's what they justify these things on. So here's Trump signing these things day after day in his first days in office. And I'm asking, where is the constitutional legality of this being done? Not just by Trump, but by Obama, by Bush, by Clinton, by all the others. And because it's Trump and all the uproar of him becoming president, executive orders are now in the news. But these have been signed. Look at all those with Bush. These have been signed, most of them without really being reported at any length. And what has happened with swish of the pen, law of the land, is that a whole list of executive orders have been brought into waiting in the case of a state of emergency being called. And who calls that? The government. And if a state of emergency is called, at that point, all these executive orders in waiting kick in and become law. And what we're looking at is a police state, Orwellian state on steroids, sitting there, thanks to executive orders, waiting to become reality. This is what they say. Each one of these is a different executive order. One, to seize all communications media in the United States. That means officially instead of unofficially like now. Seizure of all electric power, fuels and minerals, public and private. Seizure of all means of transportation, including personal cars, trucks or vehicles of any kind. And total control of highways, seaports and waterways. Seizure of all American people for work forced under federal supervision, including the splitting of families if the government finds it necessary. Seizure of all health, education and welfare facilities, public and private. Empowered the Postmaster General to register all men, women and children in the United States. Seizure of all airports and aircraft. seizure of all housing and finance authorities to establish forced relocation, designated areas to be abandoned as, quote, unsafe. Another executive order, seizure of all railroads, inland waterways, and storage facilities, public and private. And on June the 3rd, 1994, President Clinton encompassed all those executive orders into one. And the beloved of the progressive movement, Barack Obama, updated and confirmed that Clinton executive order in 2012. Don't remember any protests then when this was put into being. All through one person signing a piece of paper. Absolute madness. To give you an idea of the kind of things that can be done this way, Franklin Roosevelt signed an executive order in 1941 ordering the internment of 120,000 Japanese Americans, many of whom were American citizens. And then of course, Orwellian Homeland Security was brought into being by George Bush in 2001 in the wake of 9/11. And Homeland Security, thanks to an executive order, took centralized control of 40 federal agencies. Now, like I say, there was a time when the alternative media was highlighting the outrageous nature of executive orders. And some of us still are. But it's quite a sight now to see the Trump supporting alternative media in America not only not highlighting the fact that these swish of the pen, law of the land orders are absolutely beyond words anti-democratic. It's not democracy. It's not an open society to have one man with so much power dictating to 320 million people. That's not democracy. It's a tyranny. It's a dictatorship. And that's not just because Trump's doing it. It was the same with everyone else. The difference is that the alternative media that's now Trump supporting was once highlighting executive orders in the way that I'm talking about. Now they're cheering him on as he's signing them. And, you know, we either believe in fairness, we believe in justice, and we believe in a free and open society, or we don't. It's no good saying, well, executive orders are terrible and illegal and unconstitutional when a president we don't like is signing things we don't agree with. But, if a president we like who's signing things we do agree with, well, executive orders, that's good. They're either wrong and anti-democratic or they're not. And they are wrong, quite demonstrably. I mean, look at some fascist dictator. What do? They dictate one person to the population they control. It's what an executive order's doing. One person. No debate. No debate in the wider political system. No public debate. And so when we look at what is happening in the United States as these executive orders unfold, is that we're seeing the polarization of American society with extraordinary precision. I mean, we're talking about basically half and half. And I know the Trump supporting alternative media think he's anti-establishment and anti the global cabal. But, you know, there's more than one way of bringing out about an outcome. And if you are a few and you want to control the many, then you have to divide and rule the many. You can't have the many standing side by side in unity against what you're doing. You need to keep them focused on fighting each other. Then they won't see what you're doing, which is the situation we have. And therefore, chaos, upheaval is what they want, and that's what they have. I mean, since Trump came in, he's been kept in chaos in the sense of the provocative things that he said, and the fact that he signs a executive order to stop immigration from a list of countries without pre-warning and allowing preparation among the agencies and the airport authorities that have to administer what he's dictating, without them being pre-warned so it can be done in some kind of smooth manner or smoother. No, that's it. Get on with it. Cool. What happened? Chaos. And then you've got the all the protests against Trump and the idiots starting fires and smashing windows at Barclay this week. That's all part of this divide and rule chaos that's unfolding. It's not an accident that the Latin motto of the 33rd degree of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry is Ordo ab Chaos, order out of chaos, or what I call problem, reaction, solution. It's because this is the currency they use to impose their will on society by creating chaos and then offering the order out of the chaos, their order, their changes in society to respond to the chaos they have covertly created. So if you look at what I've been saying and writing for a long time, it's been in part that the plan is to create, in effect, civil war, not just in the United States, but in Europe too. And that is a perfect situation for the manipulators of human society. Because, first of all, people are focused on each other and fighting each other instead of coming together and seeing the common thread, the common theme, the common enemy of freedom, which is clearly now what's happening in America. And it also justifies problem, reaction, solution. Your police state to respond to the chaos and respond to the violence and the conflict and bring the military involved, because that's what they want. All these things become possible once you have chaos and divide and rule. And that's where we are. And it's not just Trump that's playing his part in creating this division. It's also those that are protesting against him. And you know, I go back to what I said about either we believe in an open and free society or we don't. And these progressives that are so vehemently opposing Trump, they seem to have one rule for a Democratic president like Obama and another for people like Trump. Surely we should have the same criteria for both. They stood by and watched Obama bomb the innocent in Libya and Syria, and they watched a regime in the White House and the Pentagon manipulating so-called people's revolutions in Libya and Syria to justify their murderous interventions.